creepy urban legends that turned out to be true. I think we all are familiar with what urban legends are, and honestly, I think it's the only scary thing I haven't talked about on this channel. I've done cryptids, I've done mythical creatures, I've done serial killers, I've done yokai, which is just Japanese cryptids, but I've never touched on urban legends specifically until today. Starting the list strong, we have Charlie No Face, also known as Greenman. As the legend states, 4 teenagers were bored on a Friday evening. They were driving around Pennsylvania and decided to give themselves a scare. They pulled off the highway and drove into a tunnel that was known as Greenman's Tunnel, and they turned off all of the lights in the vehicle and waited. Not long after, they heard footsteps approaching the vehicle, and shortly after, they saw what could only be described as a man with no eyes, no nose, and a deformed mouth looking directly at them. The boys quickly turned on the vehicle and drove away as fast as they can, never to return. As I'm assuming you gathered from the title of this video, this urban legend was true, or at least had a kernel of truth in it. Let me explain. His name was Raymond Theodore Robinson, and he was a disfigured man from Western Pennsylvania who became an urban legend due to his nighttime walking habit. Robinson was severely injured during an electrical accident during his childhood, and for that reason would avoid going out during the day and would only go on walks and spend time outside at night to avoid being seen by others and causing, in his words, a panic. I'm going to quickly address the irony, because although he was trying to be considerate in more or less of an unfortunate manner, because, you know, anybody's entitled to go outside, like he can enjoy life like everybody else, doesn't matter how you look. But I find it kind of hilarious that he was trying to be so considerate that he would only go at night, but for that same reason he just became an anomaly, because people driving down the highway at night would see a man with no face and either be terrified or not believe what they saw, and this happened so much that it literally caused an urban legend. Like, yeah, seeing a deformed guy is one thing, like no worries, yeah, we all exist, no worries. But to see something like that on the side of the road at night is a completely different story, and it's kind of hilarious how that worked out. He became known locally as the Green Man or Charlie No Face, and actually attracted curious tourists who heard the urban legend from neighboring cities. Unlike the legend, he does not live in a tunnel or chase people. He's actually a person that was well respected in his community and well liked by his family and neighbors. Charlie knew he was different and was trying to accommodate others by his appearance, which is honestly sad. And it's rather unfortunate how simply looking different can affect your life so deeply. This urban legend strikes me as the result of bullying, which is rather unfortunate. And Raymond honestly kind of seems like a G for trying to be so considerate, or maybe he just had extremely low self-esteem. But either way, this is the story of Charlie No Face and the truth behind it. Following that, we have an urban legend known as the body under the bed. The urban legend typically involves vacationing couples, newlyweds, or families at Disney, and the story goes something like this. These happy people that are on vacation will check into their hotel, they'll get their room key, they'll go in their hotel room, they'll drop off their bags, they'll notice an odd odor, but they are too excited because they're on vacation, they won't even care. They'll go enjoy a day, whatever they're doing, whether it be Disney or at Hawaiian vacation, whatever the case may be, and that night they will come back to their room. Tired after a long day, they don't even notice the smell because they're exhausted. They lay in their bed and go to sleep. They wake up in the middle of the night, tossing and turning because their bed is so uncomfortable, and at this point the smell is becoming unbearable. They turn on the lights to investigate, and at that point they would be flipping over their mattress to see a decomposing body either in their mattress or below it. This urban legend once again sounds like a common campfire ghost story or something you tell your friends before they go on vacation. Check under the bed for bodies. But unfortunately, this chilling tale, which has been confirmed in numerous newspaper reports, describes instances where hotels served as unknowing morgues for bodies decomposing in the mattresses. One specific incident in Atlantic City in 1999, guests slept on a mattress containing a body for an entire night. Similar confirmed cases have been reported in Colorado, Florida, Virginia, and other states, keeping the story alive of unsuspecting victims stumbling upon a gruesome crime scene in their own hotel room. The story is gruesome, gross, and scary, and the fact that this has happened more than once is crazy. I find this wild because if this happened once, I would say that this is grounds for urban legend slash, you know, one of those crazy stories that just goes around. Like, one time is enough for this. But the fact that this has happened consistently, maybe not consistently, but at least multiple times all across the country is pretty wild. It's kind of like that Doofenshmirtz meme. It's like, if I had a nickel for every time there was a body under my bed, I'd have 2, which isn't a lot, but it's, you know, you get it. Okay, moving on. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. As a kid, I did not like Phineas and Ferb. I know a lot of kids liked it. I don't even think it was a bad show. I just thought it was annoying. I didn't like it. Candace kind of bugged me. I didn't think Phineas and Ferb were that cool. I didn't like the art style. I'm gonna just say it. Cancel me all you want. I didn't like Phineas and Ferb. Cancel me all you want. It's just an opinion. And if you're mad, here's a Doofenshmirtz impression. Because I did watch it. It was on TV. I just didn't like it. If I had a nickel for every time there is a... Okay, I don't. Let's move on. This next urban legend is known as accidental self-defenestration. If you watched my video about cities with dark histories, you would be familiar with defenestrations. But if you're not familiar, it's essentially the act of throwing someone out the window. Apparently, there's a specific verb for that. Now, this urban legend is actually close to home as it's based in Canada, specifically Toronto, Canada. And the legend goes like this. During a meeting, a Canadian lawyer was showing off his office on the top of the TD Centre in Toronto, Ontario. This lawyer was demonstrating to a group of prospects how the building's windows were shatterproof. And to enthusiastically prove his point, this lawyer threw himself against the window. And fortunately, the glass did not break. He was right. But unfortunately, the window dislodged from the frame, making the lawyer fall 24 stories to his death. I feel like this one may be more obscure, but I definitely remember hearing a story growing up about somebody testing the strength of a window only to die directly in front of the people they were showing their demonstration to. The craziest part about this urban legend is the fact that it's completely true. This urban legend is really a story based on Garry Hoy. Garry Hoy was a Canadian lawyer known for his tragic accident that occurred on July 9th, 1993 at the TD Centre in Toronto, Ontario. And this is one of those rare instances where the urban legend, at least the stories that I've heard, are completely in line with the actual story. The accuracy of this folklore may simply be because I actually just heard the story when I was younger and it was told to me in a urban legend type of way. But if you're not from Canada or not near the Toronto area, if you've heard a similar story, let me know how that story went out, because I feel like the further away you get from the actual place of the incident, more or less of a game of telephone happens. Like I can imagine if there's people in Florida telling a similar story, but instead of a lawyer, it's a doctor. Instead of the 24th floor, it's the 50th floor. And instead of showing off to students, he's showing off to his patient. Who knows? But if you've heard a variant of this urban legend, I'd love to hear it. And now you know that it's actually true. When it comes to urban legends and folklore, I think a lot of people have one or two that they wish was real. I wish this creature was real. I wish this story was real. But this next entry is something that was very real, and I'm sure a lot of people wish it wasn't. That being the Bunny Man. The Bunny Man is an urban legend that originates from two incidents in Fairfax County, Virginia in 1970, but these stories have spread through the entire United States. The urban legend varies drastically depending on who's telling the story, but most involve a man wearing a rabbit costume attacking people with an axe or hatchet. They say fact is scarier than fiction, and in this case, it definitely is. Instead of me telling one or two of the variations of the Bunny Man urban legend, I'm gonna discuss the two actual police reports that spawned the Bunny Man urban legend. The first incident was reported on the evening of October 19th, 1970. This incident was reported by U.S. Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiancée. At the time, they were visiting relatives on Guinea Road in Burke. Around midnight, while returning from a football game, they reportedly parked their car in a field on Guinea Road. They said they parked the car there to visit an uncle who lived across the street. As they returned from the football game and got back in their vehicle, while they were sitting in the front seat with the motor running, they noticed something moving behind the rear window. Moments later, the front passenger window was smashed and there was a figure wearing all white standing near the broken window. Cadet Bennett instantly turned his car around in fear, and the man in all white screamed about trespassing. As the couple drove out of the field and into safety, they noticed that there was a hatchet laying on the floor of their car. This obviously is what smashed their window. The craziest part about this story is that when the police requested a description of the man, Cadet Bennett insisted that the man who smashed their window was wearing a full white suit with long bunny ears. Interestingly, the wife said that she didn't see bunny ears at all. She saw a tall white pointy hat, which could definitely be something. But they both saw a man in all white wielding an axe. The second police report happened only 10 days later on October 29th, 1970. A construction security worker, Paul Phillips, approached a man standing on the porch of an unfinished home, again on Guinea Road. Paul Phillips said that the man was wearing a black, gray, and white bunny costume. The man in the bunny costume began chopping the porch with a single-handed axe, saying, "You're trespassing. If you come any closer, I'll chop your head off." The security guard reasonably left after being threatened by a man with an axe and bunny costume. And of course, he contacted the police. But interestingly, in both of these incidents, both cases were closed due to lack of evidence. But in the following weeks, over 50 people contacted the police claiming they have seen Bunny Man, which is interesting to say the least. Keep in mind, these are the real accounts. The urban legends are more or less, oh, if you go to Bunny Man Bridge at midnight, you'll see him. But during the 1970s, people did see him, and they almost died at his hands. I still think anybody who encountered the Bunny Man was pretty fortunate, at least because at that point they didn't have Phineas and Ferb, so at least they weren't subjected to that torture. Okay, I'm kidding. It was a fine show. I just didn't think it was great. But if you did make it to this part of the video, comment who's Candace to confuse people who haven't made it this far yet. And with that, bros, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching this video about urban legends that turned out to be true. If you like this video or like the topic of urban legends, let me know. And if you like urban legends or cryptids, check out this video I just posted about cryptids from every state. It's one of my longest videos and I put honestly so much effort into it. So if you like cryptids or mythical creatures, you're gonna love this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, trust me, bro.